Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of The Fix. I'm your usual host, Advocate Tulo Hoyani. Today, I would like to touch on some very controversial things. Controversial because, there's no single way of understanding issues in South Africa. Everybody has got his own views, and rightly so. That is what democracy is all about. Democracy is about the interchange and exchange of ideas. Differences of opinion should not, make us enemies. Let me get straight to the business of the day. Let us look at the African National Congress. From the time that, roundabout when Mandela left prison in 1990, right up to 1994 when we had the first election, and right where it is now, some 30 years after 1994. And, the promises that it held for the people of South Africa, especially the black people of South Africa. Now, in this channel, or on this channel, I speak my mind. I speak my mind. I've always said I've got no dog in this fight, but my mind will always be spoken. The ANC was that party of liberation which, ushered us out of apartheid. And we know we held all these high hopes for the ANC that it would better our lives. Mandela came out of jail in 1990, he was an international icon. The mood was, the mood was just what it ought to be. Around Mandela, there were people like, Bishop Desmond Tutu, that eternal optimist, and people like that filled you up with hope. And, there was this belief that, after the many years of apartheid, because some of us really know apartheid, just look at my face. My face will tell you that I know apartheid. I need not go any further than that. So we had this first election in 1994, and the ANC won an overwhelming majority. We voted for the ANC. Mandela was in and around, but towards 1999, Mandela was fading away from the scene, and the reality of what South Africa is all about now was beginning to sink in. The euphoria of Mandela's release and his international iconic status, was beginning to, fade into the distance. Then came along Thabo Mbeki. The cracks began to show. You know. Thabo Mbeki never had the aura of a Mandela. He would never be a Mandela. And, he was so different from Mandela, but thank God he was a technocrat and, he managed a lot of things and by and large kept things going in this country. But there was that feeling that, things were not going right because this was now 5 years, or we had 5 years of democracy, and not much was happening. On the ground, look at the townships. The townships are still stinking, filthy. Not much, and the shacks are just mushrooming all over the place. Even then, it started then. This business of shacks mushrooming all over the place. So on it went and went and went and went. Thabo Mbeki, was a technocrat. The man is an economist, and he wanted, one of the things that he was very concerned about was to make sure that the economy of the country grows. And, European people like the late Tito Mbeweni, who has just passed away, to try and, get this country going economically. But Thabo Mbeki was never popular within the ANC. With time, Thabo Mbeki made a lot of enemies because he was perceived as, aloof and, that aloof academic person and so on and so forth. And, forces within the ANC started to marginalize him. That trend continued until we saw the Polokwane conference of 2007, where the man was completely outside, and Jacob Zuma, came onto the scene. With the advent of Zuma, South Africa, became something else. We had the era of state capture. State-owned enterprises were simply looted. We had the Guptas. You only have to read the Zondo Commission to get a full grasp of what I'm trying to talk about. The country just went down and down and down and down, and we fell into an abyss from which, a bottomless pit from which we are still trying to recover. Investor confidence was zero. A lot of rating agencies, you know, just relegated us to junk status. But we managed to survive. But with time, Zuma was seen for what he is, and the ANC it cleaned itself up and got rid of him, and here we are now with Cyril Ramaphosa now is the president. But the point that I'm trying to make is this: has life for the ordinary black person in South Africa improved? I mean, after 30 years of democracy, some of us, this democracy, when it came about around 1994, we were young men full of hopes. Here we are, twice that age, and we are still looking forward to the day when this country will come right. Look at, for instance, the squalor that you see in our townships. I mean, our townships are pretty much they used to be under apartheid. There's not much that has changed. And in many instances, things have got worse. 45% of black people, of black South Africans, live on social grants. That means, I mean, nearly half the population of the people, the working population of South Africa lives on grants. Where is this country just heading to? Unemployment is a staggering 33%. This is the reality of where we are. And with the recent May elections, people just simply turned away from the ANC. The ANC was seen for what it was. People who were in it just for the money, people who were in it for their own families. We saw people get filthy rich through very dubious means, and out of nowhere, comrades just mutated into millionaires, and service delivery continued to decline throughout the country. The municipalities are dysfunctional. Everything is not just what it ought to be. Now, come May 2024, the people simply rejected the ANC. The ANC plummeted from 57% to a paltry and, frankly, less than expected 40%, And that translates into millions and millions of voters, and the majority of whom are black. So the confidence of the people in the ANC is no longer there. Look where the ANC is now. It's in a coalition with the DA. Whoever would ever have imagined that, the South African, political landscape would change to that extent, such that would find the ANC, without a 50% plus one majority, now having to scramble all over the place looking for coalition partners. Nobody ever thought that. At least I never thought it would happen in my lifetime. But because of the disappointments that the people have experienced at the hands of the ANC, this is where we are now. The ANC has failed us in many ways, and a lot of black people are turning away from the ANC, which was our traditional home, and rightly so, because we cannot live in the past. Those days of Mandela and the aura of Mandela are gone. We want to see people for what they are today, and the ANC is just simply failing on that score. And God forbid it must remain where it is. I've got nothing against the ANC. I'm not saying people must turn away from the ANC, but let's take an objective view of the situation and say, where are we? Those people that were in the townships in 1994 are still in the townships. They are still there, living the same life. What are their hopes? Is anything going to change after 30 years? Well, here comes a GNU. Maybe things might change for the better. But the last 30 years have been wasted years. Thank you very much for watching this video. please kindly subscribe. I'm very happy that a lot of subscriptions are coming in, and view the channel. It is your channel. Let us grow the channel. Thank you very much for watching.